Good evening, Mr. Rito. We are from Group 5, will presenting about meaning and language comparison. My name is Octavia Sinatra, and here I will explain about translation problem. When learning a foreign language, we will realize that language differ not only in grammar and pronunciation, but also in vocabulary and structure. At first, we may think that every word in our native language has an equivalent word in the foreign language. However, the more we learn, the more this hypothesis collapse. The ability to achieve near native competence will show that semantic equivalence of two lexicon is the exception, not the rule. The difference could be that one language has multiple words for a concept that has only one word in other language. For example, English has word mouse and rat, while Japanese only has nezumi. This relationship can be more complicated as in the lexical field between English, German, and Japanese for the words wood, word, and key, which have different meanings that cannot be completely equated. Some basic concepts such as eating and drinking also differ in various languages. For example, in Japanese, the word nomu is used for drinking soap or medicine, while in English and German, there are different usage for eat and drink. Sometimes there is no equivalent word at all within two languages because the reference does not exist in the culture of the language. For example, Japanese does not have a word that covers all activities like the word work in English and arbitrate in German. In contrast, Japanese has the word asobu for activities that do not include work, for which there is no equivalent in English or German. Translation problems also arise from difference in social meaning. For example, in American movies, the use of you in dialogue must be carefully considered when translating to other languages that have more forms of address depending on social relationship, such as German or Japanese. In Japan, pronouns such as I and you are often inappropriate and are replaced by terms that reflect a social relationship such as Mr. Mother or Okasan. In essence, language difference include grammar, vocabulary, and sociocultural aspects that make translation complex. Headache International. Structural differences in grammar are apparent when comparing English with Japanese. For example, the way headache is expressed varies across several European and Japanese language. Headache expression in different language. English. I have a headache. German one. Ich habe Kopfschmerzen, which means I have a headache. In French, j'ai mal à la tête. I have bad at the head. I have bad at the head, like that. And then in German too, mir tut der Kopf weh. To me, I guess the head. That's the meaning. In Russian, you меня болит голова. And me, I guess the head. And in Hungarian, vaya vayim, which means I guess the head of mine. English and some other languages use possessive construction or focus on the part of the body that hurts. Meanwhile, Japanese expresses headache with atama ga itai, which literally means headache. In Japanese, the subject I, the experience of pain, is implicit and not stated except in certain contexts. Important differences in Japanese: 1. Japanese does not explicitly state the subject for subjective experiences such as headaches. 2. To state that another person has a headache, Japanese uses indirect evidence construction such as John wa atama ga itai so da, which means John says he has a headache. John wa atama ga ita so da, which means John seems to have a headache. John wa atama ga itagatteiru. John shows symptoms of a headache. Japanese distinguishes strictly between statements based on direct knowledge and indirect knowledge, which does not exist in language such as English. In summary, this analysis shows how language structure reveals different views on subject knowledge and experience. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Niky and I will explain about relativism and universalism, also the consequences. Relativism and universalism. Languages can be viewed through two contrasting lenses: universalism and relativism. Universalism posits that all languages follow the same fundamental principles derived from universal grammar, which is part of human genetic makeup. Consequently, cognitive systems are genetically determined, leading all humans to perceive and conceptualize the world in similar ways, with linguistic differences being limited to variations in using the same mental resources. Conversely, linguistic relativism suggests that each language is unique, reflecting and shaping its speaker's worldview through its distinct grammar and vocabulary. This perspective is closely associated with Edward Sapir and Benjamin Ward, who argue that language influences thought and perception. An example is the Japanese language, which encodes social hierarchies through specific terms for siblings, reflecting Japanese culture's hierarchical nature.
Hi, and my name is Intan Marcelina, and now I will explain about Berlin and Kay's investigation of color terms. Berlin and Kay conducts a comprehensive study of color term in approximately 100 languages around the world. Their research focused on basic color terms (BCT), which are simple, non-subordinate, non-component, and non-derivative words that are not limited to a narrow class of objects and have important psychological meaning. They exclude color words that are new branding and color terms that come from the name of object. The study identified 7 levels of color existing in culture, with language in stage I have only black dark color and white light brown. Language in stage have 8 or more basic color terms. Berlin and Kay hypothesized that as language developed, they acquired new basic color term in strict chronological order. If there is a basic color term language, then the order is as follows: stage dark, cold, and light warm. This includes a wider set of colors than just black and white in English. Influence, however, research in the order of color terms have been substantially relaxed both by Berlin and Kay in later publication and by various CTC critics. The study also found universal limits on the number of basic color term BCT language can have and the way the language used this term. This study includes data collected from speakers of 20 different languages from various language families. Its conclusion, Berlin and Kay study conclude that the absence of randomness in color terms across the language studies suggests a series of evolutionary stages in the development of P-color word. They purpose that there is an evolutionary pattern in basic color terms that language follow. Thank you.
Next, consequences. Findings on color terms impact structuralist views of language by showing that while languages vary in color terminology, there are constraints on how colors are lexically categorized. This supports the structuralist idea that the meanings of terms within the same field are interdependent. For the debate between relativism and universalism, these findings initially seemed to counter the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. It was argued that universal constraints on color vocabulary stem from human color perception, but this doesn't apply broadly to other semantic domains. For instance, animal concepts are influenced by cultural aspects, not just sensory data, and terms like mistake rely on complex cultural systems. Relativism is crucial for understanding language differences, which are deep and significant. It helps avoid imposing one's own linguistic categories on other languages. By acknowledging differences, researchers can then seek commonalities, recognizing that some universal bases must exist to comprehend these differences.